Life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards. Life is not a problem to be solved, but a reality to be experienced. There are two ways to be fooled. One is to believe what isn't true. The other is to refuse to believe what is true. The most common form of despair is not being who you are. People understand me so poorly that they don't even understand my complaint about them not understanding me. People demand freedom of speech as a compensation for the freedom of thought, which they seldom use. The greatest hazard of all, losing oneself, can occur very quietly in the world, as if it were nothing at all. No other loss can occur so quietly. Any other loss, an arm, a leg, $5, a wife, etc., is sure to be noticed. The most painful state of being is remembering the future, particularly the one you'll never have. In addition to my other numerous acquaintances, I have one more intimate confidant. My depression is the most faithful mistress I have known. No wonder, then, that I return the love. To dare is to lose one's footing momentarily. Not to dare is to lose oneself. To venture causes anxiety, but not to venture is to lose one's self. And to venture in the highest is precisely to be conscious of oneself. If anyone on the verge of action should judge himself according to the outcome, he would never begin. Anxiety is the dizziness of freedom. What if everything in the world were a misunderstanding? What if laughter were really tears? If I were to wish for anything, I should not wish for wealth and power, but for the passionate sense of the potential, for the eye which, ever young and ardent, sees the possible. Pleasure disappoints, possibility never. And what wine is so sparkling? What so fragrant? What so intoxicating as possibility? Knowledge is a wealth that cannot be stolen. Once you label me, you negate me. The tyrant dies, and his rule is over. The martyr dies, and his rule begins. Face the facts of being what you are, for that is what changes what you are. Boredom is the root of all evil, the despairing refusal to be oneself. Many of us pursue pleasure with such breathless haste that we hurry past it. Why bother remembering a past that cannot be made into a present? Happiness is the greatest hiding place for despair. Leap of faith? Yes, but only After reflection. My sorrow is my castle. Take away paradox from the thinker, and you have a professor. There is nothing with which every man is so afraid as getting to know how enormously much he is capable of doing and becoming. It is impossible to exist without passion. The proud person always wants to do the right thing, the great thing, but because he wants to do it in his own strength, he is fighting not with man, but with God. A no does not hide anything, but a yes very easily becomes a deception. Once you are born in this world, you're old enough to die. Hope is a passion for the possible. Never cease loving a person and never give up hope for him. For even the prodigal son, who had fallen most low, could still be saved. The bitterest enemy, and also he who was your friend, could again be your friend. Love that has grown cold can kindle. The task must be made difficult, for only the difficult inspires the noble-hearted. The only intelligent, tactical response to life's horror is to laugh defiantly at it. With every increase in the degree of consciousness and in proportion to that increase, the intensity of despair increases. The more consciousness, the more intense the despair. What is youth? A dream. What is love? The dream's content. For love is exultant when it unites equals, but it is triumphant when it makes that which was unequal equal in love. Don't forget to love yourself. Whoever has learned to be anxious in the right way has learned the ultimate. Only the person who is essentially capable of remaining silent is capable of speaking essentially. It's better to get lost in the passion than to lose the passion. You train yourself in the art of being mysterious to everyone. My dear friend, what if there were no one who cared about guessing your riddle? What pleasure would you then take in it? People settle for a level of despair they can tolerate and call it happiness. For it is not what happens to me that makes me great, but it is what I do. To grumble about the world and its unhappiness is always easier than to beat one's breast and groan over oneself. If you don't have many friends, that means you have a lot of life experience. Be that self that one is. Faith begins precisely when thinking leaves off. What distinguishes all love from lust is the fact that it bears an impression of eternity. Eternity.